lot of close racing and a lot of fun later on this afternoon.
And we were very aggressive here yesterday. Alex Bowman to the outside lane. Race fans, when it comes to unforgettable, there is no greater than the Daytona 500, and we are underway with a great American race. The outside lane, Alex Bowman from the pole position. On the inside line to go toe-to-toe with Chase Elliott.
If he can, he chooses not to. And here comes Denny Hamlin. He'll steam back to the bottom of the racetrack. Drafting help from Ryan Blaney. It's Denny Hamlin to the lead on the supertrack.
In fact, he'll grab that lead by 2 car lengths. He'll stay on the inside of the racetrack. And here comes Bowman and company topside. Bowman side by side with Ryan Blaney. They're stacked up 2 by 2 by 2 for about 12 rows deep.
Joey Logano just behind Blaney, and then it's Chase Elliott behind Alex Bowman. A couple of Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets lined up in the outside lane, all chasing Denny Hamlin.
Here comes the Thunder now, rumbling back off turn number 4 through the tri-oval and back to the line. Lap 1, led by Denny Hamlin. Side by side, behind him you've got Ryan
Blaney. Drafting help from his Team Penske teammate Joey Logano, and they immediately are going 3 wide. Kevin Harvick all the way to the penthouse. No drafting help for the moment, but here comes Clint Boyer to the rescue.
Help is on the way. Kevin Harvick's teammate Clint Boyer will line up behind him. Also bring Daniel Suarez into that, make that Paul Menard into that mix, and they're 3 wide from 6th on back.
With Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to the inside of Chase Elliott to the inside of Kevin Harvick, who leads that extreme outside lane, but only 3 cars up there. That line beginning to fade.
4 cars in single file at the front of the field, 2 rows, 2 wide, and then about 4 rows, 3 wide back in the pack, and we're just getting
Sign of extreme confidence in their race cars in this early going by those drivers that are up there in the high, wide, and handsome lane. Front of the pack right now, feeling the best of all. Denny Hamlin shows the way off too.
Joey Logano just threw a block, saw Alex Bowman coming in the outside line, moved his Ford to block the advance. It will have success. Up front, battle for second. Bubba Wallace looks for second. No, look for the lead, and Hamlin will cut him off.
That'll look to the inside, but has to fall back into line for Darrell Wallace Jr., a car length in front of Ricky Stenhouse and just behind the race leaders.
I tell you what, I like this 3 wide racing right now. You got to remember, we're early. The tires are fresh. They got the most grip right now. They can run 2 and 3 wide around it with no problem. It feels like burning off, guys.
Is out. Caution out on the Speedway here at the Daytona 500. The first on lap number 9 as Denny Hamlin brings his machine around out in front of the Daytona 500. Former champion of the event. A few cars slowing off the pace coming up off turn number 4, among them Mark Thompson in the 66 machine. And the 72 of Corey LaJoie will head back to the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series garage area.
And it sounds like the car got into the wall. I think that was the 72 of LaJoie that got into the outside wall over in 3 and 4, and that is the reason for the caution.
Been a pretty high energy start to the Daytona 500. 7 cars got broken up ahead for single file action, but from there on back it was 2 and 3 wide. Pretty aggressive for Ryan Blaney there in the early stages, throwing the block on Chase Elliott. Elliott put the bumper to him to push him forward, getting that outside lane moving. And so those guys are certainly picking up right where they left off here yesterday in the Xfinity Series event.
Between which line had momentum, the inside and the outside lane there, and Blaney had that time perfectly, only to be thwarted by that yellow.
under the caution flag, and so we have slowed the speed here at Daytona. We want to remind you that the click and close fastest lap of the race so far
needs them in. Let's go first to Steve Post.
Yeah, down here watching the cars file in. Here comes Kurt Busch. Here comes Ricky Stenhouse. Chase Elliott brings the Napa Chevrolet into the crew. Fuel only for Kurt Busch. Fuel only for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And that looks like the popular call down here on this end of pit road as everyone's getting pit service. Winston Kelly.
Same thing for Alex Bowman, Joey Logano. Kurt Busch gets off first. Then it's going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace, Ryan Newman staying up front, Chase Elliott, then Alex Bowman. The rest of the guys on this end of pit road, all of them we saw getting fuel only, including Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. We mentioned Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon.
They're here at Daytona. On the inside, Kurt Busch. Right behind him, Stenhouse, Rusty Darrell.
second behind him. Bubba Wallace down low. Ricky Stenhouse up high. Alex Bowman, the pole sitter, back into the top 5. He'll go to the inside on Stenhouse for third.
One driver in no man's land off turn 2. That's Chase Elliott. Went to the top of the racetrack. Nobody went with him. He'll lose a dozen spots. Up front, Kurt Busch with the lead. Side by side behind him for second.
Denny Hamlin go and make that Darrell Wallace Jr. to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Then it's Alex Bowman and Ryan Newman side by side for the 4th spot. As Kurt Busch leads off turn 4.
The defending winner of the Daytona 500 at the front of the field, but very, very early on this afternoon. If you're just joining in, we've had one caution so far. Kurt shows the way.
Stenhouse freewheeling it up high, although this time he's going to crowd down a little bit, try and take some racetrack away from Bubba Wallace. Not going to work to the racetrack.
Right now, tough start for Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota's issue with Denny Hamlin pitting outside of his box. Then the flat tire for Kyle Busch is going to have those two big guns running at the tail end of the field early on.
The only other incident we've had so far, Corey LaJoie blew an engine back on lap number 8. And Casey Kane down pit road, running 5th at the time. Casey still back at the back of the pack. He's lost the draft completely and is running in the 36th spot. Lap 31, Eric Jones leads the 60th Daytona 500.
The field making their way down the superstretch here at Daytona International Speedway. Everybody has now settled in, running that high line around this racetrack up in the draft. They're a single file for the moment here as we get towards the midway point of stage number 1. And if history is any indication, with 29 laps remaining in this opening stage, things will certainly get intense when we get towards the end.
Well, and of course, championship points are awarded at the end of these stages, so you want to finish as high up as you can, but still a little bit of time left before trying to make a charge up towards the front, led by Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott has been quiet so far today in the Daytona 500. He's watched his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48 race from the back to the front. Now he was trying to do the same. He runs to the inside lane, picks up another spot underneath Brad Keselowski. He's got some drafting help from a good partner too. He's got Clint Boyer behind along with Austin Dillon.
David Reagan is there as well. Eric Almirola, who looked good yesterday in the Xfinity race, also in that mix as well. And now 2 more from the leaders drop down, Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. So the inside lane starting to gain some strength. To further towards the front they go.
It makes it a battle for the 5th position as now Jimmy Johnson pulls to the inside of Daniel outside of that orange number 19.
For the lead, for the moment, he'll ride in the double file formation. Down low, it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Topside, Joey Logano.
Elliott brings the field off too. He'll start at the bottom of the racetrack and immediately jump to the outside line right in front of Logano. That allows Stenhouse to try to make a move on Logano, but now Logano looks to the outside of Elliott.
Goes to the outside of Chase Elliott. That opens the door for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the bottom of the racetrack. Moves Stenhouse back up to position number 2.
14 laps to go in stage number 1. At the moment, the Napa Chevrolet of Chase Elliott behind the wheel is the race leader. Here comes Logano again, trying the outside, but Elliott on the front.
Of making that high-line move last time around, but chose not to do it. This time, Chase Elliott shut him down. They'll run 1 and 2, nose to tail, then double wide for 3rd, Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse.
Elliott and Logano out into the clean air. They're stacking up from 3rd on back, the inside line, led by Eric Jones. Up front, Logano throws the block in 3.
And retains the 2nd position for now. Now Chase Elliott will throw the block on Logano. Not enough. Logano gets up alongside in the outside lane to take the lead.
Right now, I think we're pointing the race, guys. Well, these cars are starting to handle pretty bad. They're starting to slip and slide.
Jamie McMurray also has problems. The right side of his car flattened as he's working his way down pit road, and Kyle Busch a little bit behind here.
McMurray, the 2010 champion of the Daytona 500, brings his car down to the attention of the Chip Ganassi crew as they go to the right-hand side of this machine to put some new tires on it and take a look at the damage. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch has got his car on pit lane. The rear bumper cover is dragging behind that Toyota as he is now limping down towards his crew, located all the way down on the turn one end of pit road.
Welcome back to Daytona under the caution flag. Let's go back to lap 28. Kyle Busch, lap left tire came onto pit road. And just a moment ago, lap 50, another problem for Kyle over in turn 3.
Yeah, it looked like another issue for Kyle Busch, that M&M's Toyota, and it might have been another left rear tire. That car snapped around in turn 3. Remember, he was about a half a lap behind the leaders, so didn't have a whole lot of traffic around him, except for Jamie McMurray had nowhere to go when Kyle spun and came back up across the racetrack, got into Jamie McMurray. Both cars were able to pull away, but both had extensive damage.
Tristan Kelly, how bad's the damage on Kyle's car?
He's got some pretty substantial damage to the back of the car. His car has been shut off. They're working on the back side of the car. It looks like it's kind of squatted down in the back where it looks like that left rear tire is down. They're putting some tape on it. Tell you, for being in the 6-minute clock, they don't seem to be in all that big a hurry, but they're putting some tape on the back of this M&M's Camry, and they're going to try to return him to the racetrack, but surprisingly, it doesn't look like they're in any kind of huge hurry. See post.
Jamie McMurray has the McDonald Chevrolet. It looks like front end damage on it. They went around to the right side, took the right front tire off, and the crew worked up under the right front fender of that car. Then they moved around to the left side, took the left front fender off, or tire off, and worked on the left front fender now. Just watch as Jamie McMurray drop back down and away. Doesn't look like a lot of damage, but we'll see as he gets back up to speed. I'm talking about cars on pit road. Here's Ryan Blaney bringing his car into a stop. About a pit stop as well for William Byron, and also in Kyle Larson getting pit service here. Some of those drivers outside of the top 10, outside of the bonus points, getting fuel only for William Byron, and some other pit stop sequence down here as far as what they're doing. Winston Kelly, how about in front of you?
So about 50-50 guys coming down pit road. Since it's under caution, we got these new pit road rules. They're opting for 4 tires on both Joey Logano and the Alex Bowman car. Same thing for Bubba Wallace. They look like they're pulling some sheet metal away on the right side. Kevin Harvick pulls out with 4 tires just behind Logano, followed by Kyle Larson, and then Ryan Blaney. Other cars on this end of pit road getting service include Casey Kane and Austin Dillon to Alex Aiden.
Paul Menard, Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola, Trevor Bayne all on the pit lane getting 4 fresh tires, Sunoco fuel. They opted to go ahead and put on 4 fresh tires under this caution flag. They may go ahead and leave those same tires on, and at the end of the stage come down, take on Sunoco fuel only at the stage break. That way they can get the track position right back.
And the end of that stage, stage 1 of the Daytona 500, only 8 laps away.
Aaron is coming back down, so we'll keep our eye on what the crew does to that 24 car.
Slide down to a stop at that 24 car. Coming out to the right-hand side. They'll put some new Goodyear Racing Eagles on the right side of that automobile.
Goes to the Chase Elliott machine to seal off any chance of a comeback. That'll leave the battle for the number 3 spot. Eric Jones to the inside on Ricky Stenhouse.
And Eric Jones will get the run and the advantage on Stenhouse off turn 2. Although now Stenhouse will lead the outside line. Challenge will lead. Elliott goes to the outside of Kurt Busch, and Eric Jones now will take that spot away.
Eric Jones takes the 2nd spot away. Kurt Busch hangs on to the race lead. Chase Elliott, 3rd car in line, leads the outside lane with drafting help from Stenhouse.
Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott. Eric Jones looking to the outside on Kurt Busch. That won't work. They'll go nose to tail. Suarez and Chase Elliott.
Daniel Suarez beginning to climb the inside lane. He powers underneath Chase Elliott. He's got an idea about going after Eric Jones. Now the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. Nose to nose for the number 2 spot.
Trying to take the lead away from Kurt Busch, who now will jump up in front of Eric Jones and block that effort, leaving Suarez and Jones to race side by side. 3 wide further back. Johnson to the outside of Michael McDowell in 3.
Michael McDowell caught in the middle, as is Kyle Larson. Both of those cars go backwards. Now it's 3 wide for 3rd with Martin Truex Jr. to the bottom.
And a guy we haven't talked a lot about, Martin Truex Jr., our last year champion, running 5th right now as he crosses the line, trying to hook up with the other Joe Gibbs car.
Right in the middle of the track is Eric Jones. He's looking for space as well.
He can find some track in Eric Almirola. Blaney up high has got his former ride, now driven by Paul Menard.
Tight double wide formation as they come back to life here on this restart. Ryan Blaney in the outside line. We'll get a fender out in front of Alex Bowman. Here's Bowman though. He'll race back to the inside in this ongoing battle for the lead.
Inside lane comes to life. Alex Bowman has drafting help from Kevin Harvick and Eric Almirola on the bottom. Meanwhile, it's Ryan Blaney right with Bowman topside for the top spot.
Off turn 4, back into the trioval again, side by side for the top spot. Advantage this time to Bowman, but it's just by inches.
Outside lane. He'd like to have Paul Menard snuggled up a little tighter on the back bumper, and he's going to get his wish now. Paul Menard is right there, but Kevin Harvick on the back bumper of the leader, Alex Bowman.
Equal drafting partnerships for both drivers on the front row of this battle for the point. Blaney has Paul Menard, also Brad Keselowski, but the inside line will lose some steam, although they're hanging tough. They're going for second.
Outside lane for a moment, had that high side momentum, led by Ryan Blaney, Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski. The Penske duos right nose to tail off turn 4.
Driver that won here on Thursday in the Can-Am Duel, leading the Daytona 500 now. Out front, driving that Menards Ford is Ryan Blaney.
Running right in Blaney's tire tracks, and behind them now, here come a couple of more Fords for the 3rd and 4th position. Brad Keselowski to the outside of Alex Bowman. He's got Ricky Stenhouse in tow.
He's got a lot of drafting help behind him, does that outside line. The inside line drafting partnerships, that is, least in comparison, little in comparison to those lined up in the outside line.
Behind Ryan Blaney, then it's Paul Menard and Brad Keselowski in the outside lane, then Alex Bowman leading the inside charge. They have a run now off turn 4 with help from Kevin Harvick.
Outside line has the numbers. They have the advantage because still up front it is Ryan Blaney showing the way. A report coming in of a vibration problem. First, let's go to the Care Center.
Yeah, Ty Dillon.
But I expect he'll be there before the end of this event.
All right, thanks, guys. We're just watching William Byron in the number 24 Chevrolet Camaro scrape the wall, going through one of the corners, and apparently has cut down a tire. Still under the green flag. The field storms off turn number 4, but William Byron trying to make it back around to pit road to service that car. And Rusty, he got in trouble early on. Now we see the caution flag. Had worked his way back up inside the top 20, but another setback for the rookie driver.
Yeah, he was involved in an earlier accident along with Ricky Stenhouse when he got sideways and all that, but nothing happened to Ricky. But William Byron was one of the guys that paid the price for that. Now, because of that, I think that car had a lot of damage on the right front corner, cut the right front tire down. He got into the wall pretty hard. And I'll tell you what, guys, he's been pretty lucky he didn't tear the fender off coming down pit road.
And while all that's going on, a couple of guys who also had problems. Kurt Busch, he's worked his way back up to 10th, and Denny Hamlin is currently in 12th.
Strategy, but that's what they did, and it's working for them now, Jeff.
The 60th running of the Daytona 500, 100 laps down, 100 to go. We've reached the halfway point. Ryan Blaney has looked good all week long, Joe, and right now he's at the front of the field.
At the front of the field, where he's been a good part of this afternoon, leading a total of 28 laps more than anybody else so far in the 60th running of the Daytona 500. But again, there's plenty of company all around him. How about Trevor Bayne coming to the top 10? He's up there in 5th now. David Reagan popping up there, another Ford driver, plus Paul Menard. This thing shakes out. Dave Moody, 19 laps before the end of stage 2.
Yeah, and they're starting to get a little frisky at the front of the pack as well. Ryan Blaney bobbing and weaving, trying to block both lanes, as both lanes have got an idea of taking that lead away on the backstretch.
Kevin Harvick is on the move. He'll power down to the inside of the racetrack. He's trying to make some maneuvers there with drafting help from Trevor Bayne, Paul Menard, Kurt Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Whoa, Elliott's in the wall! Hard contact with Elliott! Danica Patrick! 4, 5, 6 other cars crash and collide, and the crash continues to turn 4.
Casey Kane had nowhere to go. He piles in. Kevin Harvick spins once again in front of me at the exit of turn number 4. The left side of that car all tore up. Danica Patrick comes to rest. Chase Elliott comes to rest at the bottom of the banking. At least 4 cars involved in this incident.
Well, that is as simple, Mike Bagley, as a bump draft for the lead gone wrong. Chase Elliott took a shot down to the inside, trying to get by race leader Ryan Blaney. Brad Keselowski was there, and then it all broke loose in front of you.
Man, it did not take long, Jeff, for Chase Elliott's car to snap around, and when it did, it snapped hard and up into the safer barrier. Brad Keselowski getting a piece of that. A couple of other drivers did as well. The track was blocked. Everybody just trying to load their cars down, and Kyle because you saw that accident started in turn 3 and continued all the way over to turn 4.
Well over into turn number 4 for Kevin Harvick. Danica Patrick, a lot of damage, and it looks like her NASCAR career will end at the bottom of turn number 4 with a torn up race car. Chase Elliott's car has also come to rest on the banking, waiting for that young driver to climb out. In fact, as I speak, he has climbed out of that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet.
Multi-car contention, only for it to end with a heavy hit there to, I believe it was Danica Patrick's car that he came in contact with. You see Brad Keselowski's car off on the record, one of the cars that a lot of people thought would be the man to beat today, and he's going to have to wait another year to go after that Daytona 500 trophy.
Danica Patrick's historic career in NASCAR coming to a close here just a few moments ago. The number 7 machine involved in that incident in turns 3 and 4.
Behind Ryan Blaney, but he wasn't close enough to do that. Instead, Martin Truex slides in between them.
He's running bottom of the racetrack alongside the Paul Menard machine. They are 2 by 2. Blaney leads the way. Truex is second. Then Trevor Bayne and Paul Menard.
And they're double wide, about 5 rows behind them. You talk about Trevor Bayne. He's got drafting help from Kurt Busch. Also Denny Hamlin. Truex wants the lead. Blaney throws the block.
Had a look to the outside, but has to get back into line. First car in line on the outside. Talking about Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, all by himself right now at the front of the field.
All right, more news here, Joe Moore. The damaged vehicle clock expired on the number 4 of Kevin Harvick. He just left pit road. Apparently the clock expired. Kevin Harvick is headed back to the garage. Meanwhile, it's on the front turn
72, but it does look like a number of crews are up on the wall, planning to come down pit road a little bit earlier. Alex?
Yeah, same down here, Winston. Most of the teams, like the Denny Hamlin team, they don't even have their helmets on just yet. They're just kind of relaxing. And as I say that, literally on cue, they jump up, grab their helmets, and get ready to go. Here comes some race cars. As a matter of fact, Clint Boyer is one of them that's going to come down pit road. He's down a cylinder. However, he's still just one lap down. They're going to change right side tires, put the first can of Sunoco fuel in. It looks like it will be a 4-tire change for Clint Boyer's race team. Nope, it's going to be right side only and 2 cans of Sunoco fuel. More cars in front of Winston Kelly.
Austin Dillon, Sunoco fuel. An extra few seconds, no tires. Get that fuel tank just as full as they can. 3 laps down, Kyle Busch off pit road. He leaves one car more in front of Daytona.
2 tires for the lap car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and enough Sunoco racing fuel to make it to the end of the race. They need a caution and try to get a lap benefit. That's the story of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Alex?
Yeah, DJ.
break. Ryan Blaney trying to get away from
green flag. He is away by a car length. Kurt Busch right in his tire tracks, rides in second. The battle for third, side by side. Denny Hamlin down low. Martin Truex Jr. up high. They are wheel to wheel for the 3 spot.
Side by side, they will race off turn 2. It's a 2-car breakaway at the front of the pack. In Blaney and Kurt Busch. Crossover. Denny Hamlin to the outside of Kurt Busch. Pushing Blaney. Now it's Hamlin 3 wide for the lead.
3 wide for the lead. Kurt Busch to the bottom. Blaney in the middle with no drafting help. Denny Hamlin to the top side of the racetrack as they make their way off 4.
Busch has the lead, at least for now, off turn number 4. He's on the low side. Here comes Denny Hamlin. He's got it fired up in the outside lane. That Toyota gets by, the nose out in front.
Drafting help coming for Kurt Busch in the person of Ryan Blaney. Comes all the way up, wraps it on the back bumper, shoves Busch back to the lead. Blaney now will go to the number 2 spot. Hamlin fights back to the outside.
Could be bad news for Kurt Busch. He's 2 car lengths out in front, and the pack is steaming down behind him. Here comes Blaney. He'll close up on Busch. Look to the high side for the lead.
Big run for Ryan Blaney. Goes to the outside of Kurt Busch. They are side by side for the race lead. Eric Almirola, second car in line on the bottom. He's up to third.
5 laps to go. The drafting help for Ryan Blaney will come in the form of Denny Hamlin. Downstairs, Kurt Busch will lead him across the line. He's got his teammate lined up right behind him. That's
anybody's ball game now. Kurt Busch has got the lead. Blaney right there in second. They bump. Blaney gets sideways and makes a great save. That opens the door for Eric Almirola. Almirola to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll take the lead by a nose.
Here comes Kurt Busch back to the outside, side by side for the lead. Eric Almirola downstairs. Kurt Busch topside, side by side. Blaney, Chris Buescher, and others looking on.
Throw a blanket under the top 7 cars, led by Kurt Busch, side by side for the second spot. Ryan Blaney to the outside of Eric Almirola.
Kurt Busch has the point. Once again, the battle for the second spot. It's Blaney on the top side, Almirola on the low side of the racetrack. Denny Hamlin still in the mix.
Right now it's going to feel like a duck in the shooting gallery because he is way out front by about 4 car lengths. And here comes the field storming his way again. Almirola down low, Blaney up high. Oh, the outside for the lead now.
There's Blaney now. He'll throw a block on Denny Hamlin trying to keep him behind him. It is Blaney back to the lead. Hamlin goes to second. Kurt Busch alongside Matt DiBenedetto for third.
Stewart-Haas Racing teammates locked together on the bottom of the racetrack. Kurt Busch pulls up alongside Ryan Blaney for the lead with help from Eric Almirola.
3 to go. It's on here at Daytona. Blaney trying to hold everybody back. Kurt Busch down on the inside. He's got no drafting help. Denny Hamlin riding right behind Blaney. That's the battle for the lead.
One moment you're the attacker, the next moment you're the defender. Right now, Ryan Blaney is in the catbird seat. Hamlin rides in the number 2 spot. He looks high, nothing there. He looks low. Oh, Blaney blocks, big bump, and Blaney gets sideways but saves it.
He'll hang on to it. Denny Hamlin now will occupy the inside line. Side by side for the lead still. Blaney fender out in front. Hamlin to the bottom of the racetrack.
Side by side for the top spot, and some of the smaller teams gathering themselves in the outside lane. Matt DiBenedetto's up to third. Brendan Gaughan right behind him.
Coming back to the line, 2 laps to go. Denny Hamlin got a big push. He's out in front by a car length over Kurt Busch. Busch on the inside. Almirola outside. Turn 1.
Denny Hamlin shows the way into the banking at turn number 1. Almirola to the inside. Kurt Busch spins. Ryan Blaney gets collected, and they're all piling in now. Bowman is caught up in it. Kurt Busch pounds the outside wall for a second time. 7, 8, 9 cars crashing. Martin Truex Jr. Jeffrey Earnhardt is in it. Matt DiBenedetto, Brendan Gaughan, and others. It's all come apart at the exit of turn 2.
And the caution is out for the 8th time, and it's a big caution for a number of the drivers that were contending for the Daytona 500 win. Dave Moody.
Everybody in the pack was bump drafting and shoving for all they were worth, Jeff. And whoever was behind Kurt Busch got into him, and it looked like he just kind of lifted the rear wheels up off the ground. Around went Kurt Busch. The big lick of all belonged to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. His Fastenal Ford is utterly and completely demolished at the exit of turn number 2. Matt DiBenedetto's car, what a heartbreaker for that young man. He's torn up. We'll say the same thing for Brendan Gaughan. All of their afternoons have ended here, just a lap short of payday.
Huge crash going off into turn number 2, just 2 laps from conclusion. We're going into overtime for the Daytona 500.
Dylan, too. Joe, you and I talked a little bit ago, and he was racing hard to get back into position to get the free pass. He's 4th right now, so all of that aggressive racing there when the pack was coming up to lap him has...
Pace car has pulled off the track as the field enters the tri-oval. A green-white checkered run to finish it up here today in the Daytona 500. Up front, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, they see the green. They're on the gas, but no one pulls out in front.
Formation 2x2. Nobody gets an advantage so far. It's going to be Denny Hamlin, bottom of the racetrack. Eric Almirola on the outside. Chris Buescher tucked into the low groove in row 2. Then outside, Austin Dillon.
They stay in double wide formation to the back straightaway. Hamlin on the bottom. Eric Almirola topside. Chris Buescher throws a block on Paul Menard further back. Eric Almirola around Hamlin into the lead.
Great run in the outside lane with drafting help from Austin Dillon propels Eric Almirola to the front of the field, side by side for second between Hamlin and Dillon.
Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, top 3 cars. They see the white flag in the air at Daytona. Eric Almirola is out front. To the outside, Austin Dillon to his inside.
What a debut with Stewart-Haas Racing this week for Eric Almirola, but it's far from over yet. Back on his rear bumper now. To the inside is Denny Hamlin. To the outside, it's Austin Dillon. They're looking 3 wide behind them. Almirola for the final time.
Here he comes up the Daytona super stretch. Eric Almirola trying to block both lanes, trying to keep Hamlin behind him, trying to keep Austin Dillon behind him. Dillon turns him. Eric Almirola into the wall in turn number 3.
Austin Dillon to the bottom of the racetrack, at the front of the field, off of turn number 4, but they're lined up side by side. Behind him, it's Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon leads the pack off turn number 4. No one ever thought he would contend for the win, but he's going to do it. He's going to win the 60th running of the Daytona 500. Austin Dillon scores the victory here today, with Darrell Bubba Wallace coming in 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Joey Logano 4th, and Chris Buescher's going to finish in 5th.
Unbelievable finish. They were crashing further back. Eric Almirola looked like he may be going to victory lane. That didn't work out, and Austin Dillon is a winner in Daytona as we go to pit road.
There is